Hey, Transformer, innovator, and learner-centered practitioner and a learning experience designer. Welcome back to the 12 days of PBL. You can see I got my holiday shirt on. Most people know it as 12 days of Christmas. We're reworking that to see how to better become practitioners and designers of learning experiences through these 12 days of PBL with the 12 biggest questions. Brief recap, we are on day 8, believe it or not. Day 1, we looked at unpacking what are high-quality project-based experiences. We pulled out words like authenticity. We then connected to day 2 on how to build those authentic community partnerships that will allow project-based experiences to fly. Day 3, we unpacked the elephant in the room, which was the standards and curriculum, and saw how they can fit naturally into project-based experiences and actually allow students to go deeper. Day 4, we brought in my great friend, Marie Simpson of International School KPIS, who is the PBL coordinator there, to talk about how to scaffold and schedule project-based experiences to make it feel like it's seamless and not too big of a stretch. Day 5, we looked at, well, how do we differentiate for learners with various learning styles and needs? We all have our special needs, and how do we ensure that our project-based experiences are meeting those learners with diverse needs? We then looked at another question about how do we showcase and exhibit student work, and we looked at the 5 Ps of effective exhibitions and showcases, and what happens when instead of the end of unit tests, we allow kids to showcase and present their work. And then day 7, we brought in my great friend, Ashley Dirtle, recently at Verso International School, to talk about the amazing spaces they've created to allow for project-based learning to fly. Let's now get to day 8. Day 8's topic is going to be around how do I scale and get buy-in for PBL? Look, if you're tuning into these 12 days of PBL, I don't have to convince you of the impact that project-based learning can make. But I'm sure if you're tuning in, you probably work at a school or an organization or a district that might not quite understand what's the big hoopla around project-based learning and how does it fit into what you do. And you probably feel a little bit like this guy right here who is pushing this big PBL proverbial snowball up a hill. Now, I'm going to use a case study to try to illuminate how might we gain momentum and scale PBL so it doesn't feel like we're pushing the snowball up the hill alone. And I'm going to do it through a case study. Like always, it's the CIS. I strongly recommend you check out this school, Cambridge International School of Bratislava. Now, if you know the Cambridge system, you know the Cambridge system sometimes can feel a bit rigid. Well, how does PBL fit into that? And that's what the leader, his name is Aaron King, confronted when he was trying to bring project-based learning into this school. Now, if I remove parts of this snowball, okay, so you saw that I removed part of the snowball, it is formed by these 2 C's, okay? So we're going to look at 2 major C's in how to push that proverbial snowball and gain momentum for project-based learning. The first C is connection. At this school, Cambridge International School of Bratislava, they needed to connect project-based learning to the values they already have. Well, their motto was, we engage students so they can engage with the world around them. That was a nice, sticky motto, and it was something to connect to some of the experiences that were already existing. They already had some of these partnerships. They had this experiential learning program. That was a nice way to connect to currently what they're doing. They started the project-based learning weeks because there was a whole week, especially you probably remember during COVID, on which testing wasn't going to happen. And so there was a week where you could play around with the timetable. They put everyone off the timetable and had these PBL weeks, had great success, had a great opportunity to expose people to project-based learning. Kids were redesigning the campus. Teachers were gung-ho about it. And they started asking the questions, well, how can we fit this project-based experiences more into what we already do here? So connection is the first C that you really want to focus on. How can you connect project-based learning to something everybody believes? And what are some things you could celebrate right away? The second C is going to look at, okay, collaboration. Now that you've built some momentum, people have seen it a little bit in action. You might have taken them off the timetable and gained some momentum around it. Well, how then do we build the collaborative structures that we know are so important to allow project-based learning to happen? So that's when the school looked at, okay, what are the teaming structures we have? We have departments, but what might it look like if we have year levels? And let's take it a step further. If we start putting just some PBL lessons or PBL classes throughout the day, what might that look like and how might we coordinate that? So they had some coordinators who were helping support this. They had some people who were excited about this way of learning who jumped on board to start planning these kind of experiences. And lo and behold, they started to connect project-based experiences to things they're already doing. They restructured existing units to be more project-based. And they start then gaining this momentum so that they're now pushing this proverbial snowball less uphill and more downhill. And they're getting a lot more people involved in it. So those were a couple things they introduced. They also introduced collaborative planning time. If you are going to be doing project-based learning, if you're coordinating it, you've got to take some things off of your teacher's plate if you're going to put some things on. And there's no way to fit project-based learning into a very packed schedule if you don't allow for that planning time. So find planning time. One of the schools I work with is starting now late start days, and they're going to have that time for teachers to be able to collaborate and plan and design together. So create those collaborative structures when it comes to planning, when it comes to design, when it comes to reflection, and with connection to something that you already believe in terms of your values at your school organization, to collaborative structures, you're going to start to see, again, that proverbial PBL snowball start to gain some momentum, and you're going to scale it quite easy and get a lot of buy-in across the school. So that was Cambridge International School Bratislava. My challenge to you is how might you scale and get buy-in for project-based learning at your school, your organization, or wherever you're at. Finally, I want to invite you, again, if you want all of the videos, there's 12 days of PBL. We're on day 8 right here in this link, transformschool.com/12 days of PBL. Sign up there. You can get all of these videos. And again, this is leading to a bigger collaborative network that I'm trying to start that's going to connect practitioners across the world. This is a bit of a taste of it. If you're interested in learning more, reach out to me via LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever you're watching this, and I'll be sure to get you those details. Thanks so much. And be sure to answer that question, how might you scale and build buy-in for project-based learning across your school organization? See you for day 9.